to another training video brought to you by Spot Training, teaching you to do more anywhere. My name's Josh, and today I'm going to be coaching you through some alignment techniques that I like to use. Now, alignment is something that a lot of people think is just associated with yoga and chakras and all that other kind of stuff. But really, you know, alignment can be very important in things like a deadlift, which I excel at with alignment, and push-up, which I don't excel at with alignment. But basically what it's going to do when you are working out in alignment and you're doing strength training, you're going to maintain that alignment when you recover from your strength training. Same thing with conditioning, aerobic training, anything like that. However, if you are working out of alignment while you're doing strength training, cardio training, aerobic training, then you're going to recover out of alignment for strength training. The way I've always heard it is, you know, the tighter you keep your core base and your structures during your workout is how it's going to affect your results outside of the workout. So, you know, if you want that bikini bod and you want that nice tall alignment and hourglass figure, well, you better be thinking about whether or not you're keeping your glutes tight, your core tight, and your shoulders back, and aligned with your body at all times. So, for the sake of alignment, we are going to be looking at the low lunge video. In the low lunge video, we're specifically looking at my lunges, of course, my flat back, and also my mountain pose. That way we can see, you know, we'll break down the videos and look at things that I was successful on and also embrace the failures that I've had so that way I can grow on them. Alright, so let's get started. Let's start breaking me down. Alright, so I'm going to start off with a mountain pose. And I'm already going into it. I do a pretty good job of talking through the workouts when it comes to stretches. Now, with the mountain pose itself, you're literally just trying to create separation between your hip and your neck and just extend, 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 extend. And that's going to go from head to toe. There are some natural issues that I have, so we'll start from the bottom. I have some nice flat feet right there. I get my drawing tool out. You can see that my feet tend to pronate and then my knees go in a little bit because of it. So this is something I have to be very conscientious about, is making sure that my feet are basing, that I'm making a nice strong contraction inside of them and turning this knee out. Woo! Okay, but while keeping this toe in. Because if I start to turn the toe out, then I'm not really working with the alignment, I'm working around it. Okay. Now, secondly is going to be the hip. Pretty good there. She had something to say. Poppy, cut it out. You know, and you're just basically looking to keep this knee in line with this hip. You can see my hip bone should be about here, my knee's about there, so pretty solid alignment right there. Then after that's going to be my core and my spine, which we'll get a better view of from the side, but for the sake of, you know, this video, I'll just go ahead and show it right here. Now, last part of the alignment, and this is where a lot of us tend to fault on, is going to be right here inside of the lat. Okay, the reason a lot of us tend to fault on it is we're primates. You know, we're made to climb things, but when was the last time you had to do that? It's something we've evolved out of. So when I'm reaching overhead, even though I can't see my arms, I can see that my lat is naturally a little bit splayed out to the side. Okay, and that's not quite ideal. My shoulder alignment isn't great, and honestly, nobody's is. So for this, you want to make sure that you're opening up that chest, really broadening it out. And as I mentioned in the video, I like to turn my palms out. That way I'm squeezing my shoulder blades together. And counteracting this lifetime of sitting down at a desk with my shoulders slunched forward, creating tension in my chest and depressing my shoulder blades. Okay, so just keep that in mind when you are doing these motions. It's not just throw your arms up in the air and stand there. It's really think about, you know, how is my body aligning? Am I making a straight line from my right toe all the way up to my right arm? Okay. So as I stated before, you can certainly see a lot more of your extremities alignment from the front view. In this case, we are going to be looking at a side view right there. And yeah, I do have you know, natural hip tension. I spent 18 years in school sitting at a desk. So when you sit at a desk, your knees are at a 90-degree angle, your hips are at a 90-degree angle, and that grows in your hip flexors tighter. So because of that, these hip flexors right here, there's a little bit of tension right there. And what that's going to do is put this pressure inside of the lumbar right here. So the answer to it is to thrust your glutes in and bring your core in, which I'm certainly putting effort into, but you know, it's hard to work and counter years and years and years of poor posturing in this section. So, but ideally, you're going to have a straight line going from your ankle to your knees. I'm got some tension in my hamstring, so my knee's a little bit forward. Straight line from your knee up to your hip, which isn't too bad, but again, I have some tension inside of my hip flexor. And then from the hip flexor up, I actually do a pretty good job. I've got some really good mobility when it comes to overhead motion. So I do have a straight line going from my hip to my shoulder all the way up to my arms. Okay. So areas of improvement for myself, mobility in the hamstring, I'm certainly working on. I need to do more hurler stretches. And then some fixes inside of the hips, particularly the front end of my hip where it crosses the top of my hip bone. Not so much the inside of my hip, my groin. I can do a side split for days, and you know, that's not so much of an issue. But that's what's going to help my alignment personally. All right, so going into that flat back, you know, when you're standing up straight, there's not too much that's going to build up tension. You saw that I had some in my feet inside of my lat. But in my hamstring, I have tons of tension from years and years of lifting weights and also walking on flat solid surfaces in short ranges of motion, aka bartending, and sitting at a desk. So you can see right here that I don't have a lot of mobility inside of my hamstring. But the big thing that I want to emphasize when you are doing this flat back is you are keeping a flat back, okay? Going from my shoulders down to my back, I want to keep a straight line. And then you're also going to want to keep a natural straight inside of that leg. So what that's going to do is all of this up here is contracted. All of this is contracted, okay? And down here, because all of this is contracted and extended, it's going to pull going this way, which is going to pull this guy from the hamstring up, okay? Creating a lot more tension out of that hamstring, okay? So when you're doing that flat back, think about that back of the thigh. The way you're going to access it more successfully is by taking the tension out of your back. You don't want to round your back, you want to keep it extended. So that way the tension is transferring down into the hamstring, the back of the thigh, and the glute, okay? Let's go ahead and move forward. All right, so right here you can see that I'm going into my lunge, and I do a good job of showing you know, a good strong alignment. Let's see how I look once I get those arms extended. Oh, I'm resetting. Smart, Josh. Resets. Smart. Okay, so this is great. This is actually really good. You can see that my ankle lines up with my knee. It's a little bit far back, but that's fine. You can see that my knee from the back lines up with my hip, and I'm basically creating a whole bunch of 90-degree angles right here. I've got 90 degrees here, 90 degrees here, 90 degrees here, and a straight line going from my hip up to my shoulders. So from the side view, it looks pretty good. I'm drawing in my core and thrusting my glute. When you're doing the opposite, when you're not drawing in your core, it will round your back and make pressure on the lumbar. And then when you're not clenching your glute, it'll push your hips back, again furthering that pressure on the lumbar. This is an ideal alignment for a lunge. All right, and that's going to be it for my training video on alignment. I hope you all learned something when it comes to how to properly place yourself in alignment. This is applicable to a lot of different motions: overhead presses, clean and jerk, deadlift, and of course lunging, running, those kinds of things. Maintaining alignment is super duper important because how you align yourself during your workouts is going to translate to how your muscles recover from your workouts. And how your muscles recover from your workouts is going to translate to how your alignment is in everyday life. So if you're doing deadlifts and you've got a rounded back, well, expect to have a rounded back for life, and all the great things that come with that. So I hope this helped you. Again, if you have any questions, email me at joshua.james.costidas@gmail.com. I'd love to answer more questions and insights on alignment. If you do have any questions, I'd love to hear them. Thank you guys so much for coming out.